Hello everybody, we are Dying Oath. I am Jeb, the clean vocals.
I'm Matney, the bass player.
I'm Mindy, the screamer.
Endicott, rhythm guitarist.
Josh, lead guitar.
You are now watching Concert Junkies, Rob and John. Hit that bell at the bottom to subscribe.
Alright, so how we all met's kind of a long story. It started out with me and this guy, and we had another guitarist. He was actually on drums at the time, okay? We met that way, we started this band. We've changed the name, we went through a lot of members. We ended up bringing on another drummer, okay? We moved him to guitar where he should have been in the first place. Then we ended up picking up this guy for clean vocals who does a great job. We picked up these two, we picked up her first, okay? We did a bunch of tryouts, a lot of people, a lot of talented people. We got her though, those screams, unreal. Those two were actually already in a band together, and I mean, it just worked out.
I said, hey, I got a roommate.
Right?
The rest
Killer
is
bass
history.
player already, so.
Like, hey, he plays bass.
So that's pretty much it.
So my biggest influence was my grandmother, very old Irish woman, very old school, would sing jigs and shanties all day long, ever since I was born. So music's always been around.
For me, music's always been in my family. My grandfather played guitar. I was about 15 and my music teacher put a bass in my hands and just told me to pick it up and start playing it, and it just went from there.
Music runs in my family as well. My grandmother was a semi-famous musician, and at an early age my mom gave me a stack of CDs and said, here, try this. It was everything from Journey to Joan Jett, stuff like that. Really got me interested, and then later on in life I found metal, and the rest is history.
My main influences have been my family, just listening to loud music. My mom was always listening to everything loud, from AC/DC to Metallica, and you know, eventually as age went on, I found heavier metal and ended up with my first guitar, the RR3 Jackson, and Matt Tuck was my biggest influence from there. Seeing him on stage was killer at the time.
Biggest influence. I guess I'd have to say my Uncle Bo, man. He's incredible. Guitar, banjo, mandolin, fiddle, it doesn't matter. Every time we'd get together for family gatherings, he'd always have one out. He would always be jamming. And I always thought it was so cool, man. I always wanted to, try it out. So I think I was like 14 when I finally picked up my first guitar for Christmas. It was like one of the little $150 packages. It was Epiphone Les Paul Special or whatever. I got that, man. I really started getting into like Iron Maiden, some of the stuff around that time, kind of like the newer, like Disturbed, Korn. I keep hitting this daggone drum. But anyways, I got into that stuff, and then I heard Trivium for the first time, and that just set it off. And I wanted more and more and more, and I found All That Remains. I found Kill Switch Engage, As I Lay Dying, and it went from there, man. I'm moving this thing.
Pants.
You should definitely take pants, yes.
Yeah.
Please take pants.
Probably a stretch for him. He's always in shorts. I mean, real
Well,
tall.
yeah,
Shorts.
do you wear pants?
Once a year.
Oh, I thought you meant once ever.
No,
I can
once a
believe
year.
that.
Got to do it on Christmas.
Only pants.
Just
That's all you're,
pants.
that's all you're gonna
Just
say.
pants.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least he's taking pants, I guess. Okay.
Music other than my own.
That's a good answer. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm the girl, so quite the diva, I suppose. So I've got to take a lot of other things, but
Makeup.
yeah, makeup definitely. A guitar, coloring books, reading material, water, lots of water, and headache medicine. I think those are my main things, definitely.
Yeah, probably my switch if I didn't get car sick, so more likely nausea pills.
That's a good answer too.
Yeah. I guess 3 things, really. Air fresheners for the van, because if anybody's ever been on an extended trip in a van with a bunch of sweaty people after shows,
Yeah,
you
it's
need
bad.
something, okay?
It's a breeze.
Some kind of good food, because you're eating junk, okay?
Yeah.
You're eating
Fast
truck
food.
stop food, fast food. Try to find some way to find some kind of nourishment. And 3, I guess, if space allows, bring some weights along, something kill time, so to
Ooh.
lift weights, try to stay in shape.
Can I share your weights with you? Because that sounds fantastic. These
Can
are
I share
great
your
answers.
food?
Yeah.
Eat the food.
Could we just share everybody's stuff?
Right.
Actually, yeah, I had dry shampoo to mine. I'm not taking showers
Dry
anywhere.
We're doing
Dry
slick
shampoo is a
shampoo.
definite. Yeah, and pants. Lots of pants.
If I didn't have the time devoted to music, I would make video games. Video games are a huge part of my life, and I would love to create them.
Probably for me would be doing what I do when I ain't playing music. I work as a bridge inspector, or I'd go back into the fabrication field.
I think that if I wasn't doing music, I would probably be a burlesque dancer. That's my other love, and if I didn't have this, that'd probably be the only thing I'd want to do, to be honest.
I'd probably be a therapist. I mean, that was something I always did when I was younger, was talk to everybody. So
That's a good
True.
answer. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I guess family man, since I've got 3 kids, or I guess if I didn't have them, I'd re-enlist in the military. Semper Fi.
I've got a very fond memory of the Canal Club in Richmond, Virginia. I went to a couple shows there watching Pawn the Burning Body and Bless the Fall. It's a wonderful place where a lot of just like-minded people come and watch some metal music.
For me, just anywhere local. We've played several different local venues as far as middle West Virginia all the way down into southern North Carolina. And just to say I have one favorite, I mean, I really don't. Just anywhere with a stage that somebody would share the same interest and love for the music would be perfectly fine with me.
Oh, you're a jerk. You took my answer. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
Um,
It makes it simple.
I think for me, and I'm sure this is probably the same answer for Josh, we have a community center here, and I think for me that's my favorite venue because that's always the place that my friends and family get to come to because it's the closest. Some of my biggest memories of watching other local bands have been there, and some of my biggest crowds that I've ever played for have been there. So to me, our home venue is always going to be my favorite venue, for sure.
oh man,
Definitely
yeah, no,
agree.
that would have been my answer too.
Yeah,
But
I
I got,
figured.
you know what? That's fine. Besides that, I like the Fillmore. Like, you ever been to the Fillmore,
The
North
Fillmore
Carolina?
is fantastic,
Yes.
Oh
absolutely.
God, I've
yes.
seen Children of Bodom there, Black Label there. I love that stage, but no, same answer there. Roberts. Ooh.
Well, it's been used, so I've actually got 2 anyway, so that kind of works out. I'm going to have to say the Pit at Hell High in Withville, Virginia.
That
It's
was my
in-
second.
I mean, it's incredible simply because it's not really big, it's not really flashy, but it's real and it's raw, and that's the perfect place for like new bands to go really cut their teeth and really get a taste of what it is, man. A mosh pit at the Pit, I mean, there's nothing like it.
It's very homey,
It is,
comfortable.
and
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's always a family-friendly show. So, like, whenever
is.
we've played there, people would bring their kids. And
Yeah, I'd
If-
like to know that both of those venues are actually all ages, which is one of the things that we really love to do because these guys have kids. So it's important to us that we get to reach out to the younger generation as well, and not all venues can do that. So that's one of the reasons why we chose those 2 as well.
plus, we love doing stuff with kids. And when we get a kid come up and, hey, we want to buy a shirt, and, all of us sign it. And it's a very warm feeling for all of us. Just maybe we can influence them even if they don't do metal and they want to do something like a melodic rock, even back to country or something. Just as long as we can spark some type of influence in the younger generation is wonderful.
So the first concert I ever went to was Warped Tour back in 2011. If I remember correctly, the first band I ever actually saw was Issues. First album was bought for me back when I was 4 or 5 years old, which was System of a Down. I believe Toxicity was the album, or Mesmerize, one of them.
They're both great
Yeah,
albums.
it was System of a Down.
The first actual concert that I ever got to go to was right around 2006, 2007 down at Myrtle Beach, and it was Marty Stewart. And the first album that ever was bought for me. My dad bought it. It was the Kiss Revenge album.
Hey, that actually goes along with my answer. My first concert ever was Kiss, actually, and I was a small child, so I don't really remember what age I was. The first album that I ever owned in my life was actually Pat Benatar, which was the album that taught me how to sing.
My first album was Slipknot, Subliminal Versus 3. Actually, funny enough, at 12 years old, yeah, I was a delinquent.
That's awesome.
Oh God, if first show I ever actually been to, like show was the Berserkers tour with Children of Bodom and Black Label, like, you know, the Fillmore. That's where I first went to the Fillmore.
You're so much cooler now.
And but my first ever show was actually Driven out at the community center, back when they were still around.
I used to open for them.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing them at the Ward Street High School.
That's
Isn't
cool.
that a Nicolas Cage movie?
Moving on.
Right. First real show, I guess probably North Carolina. All That Remains, Unearthed, Killswitch Engage. Incredible show. Absolutely killer. Loved it. Want to go back. First album, that's a tough one. That is a really tough question. I guess I would have to say Iron Maiden's Ed Hunter. I mean, if you don't count the ones that I got from BMG Music Service, you know.
Oh, I got stacks of those.
Yeah. I think that was actually the first one. It had like who was it? Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, had Kid Rock's Devil Without a Cause, Slipknot's Numbers album.
First CD I ever bought
Yeah.
from BMG
Bought?
was
You bought them?
Kitty, actually, which is
Kitty?
my favorite
Nice.
band. So
You know, thinking back on it, I think honestly it wasn't Issues. I think it was Woe Is Me. It was the same frontman, Tyler.
he's like, oh, let me change my answer.
Yeah, at the same time, I got the Follows the Leader album from Korn. That was killer.
I got that at the same time I got the Kitty album. It was
Yeah.
like Disturbed, Kitty, and Korn.
Had
New metal all the way there.
Staple, man. I mean,
Yeah, we're new metal kids, man. We can't help it.
it was all about some hybrid theory back in the day.
Guess I was the
Linkin
only
Park,
emo
yeah,
kid. I'm
absolutely.
listening to like Simple Plan and Blink 182 and
Okay.
Newfound Glory.
That's right there with you.
Blink-182 back then.
Hey, what's
man.
wrong with listening to some Simple Plan?
I love Simple Plan. They were really good live too.
Blink-182, that was actually one of the first, I think it was All the Small Things, one of the first songs I learned to play on guitar.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was simple and it had a good groove.
I know we've already played with them, but I would love to play with them again. It would be Inferior Design. Those guys blow me
Slay.
away. They're fantastic.
The band that I would love to play with would be a band that I've heard about for years, and I never got to see them live, and I would love to not only play with them, but just get to see them up on a stage, would be Bludgeon.
My heart. That's one of my favorites when I was a little tyke growing up in the scene. For me, I know that I've played with them a lot, but you guys have played with them as well. Haymaker. Those guys slay every show that they do. Ever.
Almost got knocked out in their pit. They're awesome.
Good times.
Mine's definitely biased. Curses. I've seen them twice live. They're a killer band.
They slay
Oh, yeah.
too, man.
And they actually ended up remembering us when we came up and seen them the second time.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, they're great.
I guess I'd have to say Proxima, just because those guys throw down. If you haven't seen one of their shows, check it out. I'm serious. But
So great.
there is another one, but unfortunately they're not around anymore. If they were, this would definitely be it, man. The Vanishing. If you guys know Jeff Carrico,
Yeah, dude.
the dude is incredible.
That's
If you
the
get a
stuff
chance,
that we
check out
grew
his
up with.
new thing, Life Sentence, too, man. But The Vanishing, dude, I loved that music back then.
Agreed. Unfortunately, guys, because of the state of things, we don't have anything booked right now because everything that we did have has been canceled or postponed, and so we don't really have any dates to give you at this point. We would like to say thank you for watching this, and if you want to catch future dates, then check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Also, please subscribe to this channel so that you can see other great bands.